Cheers.
You've stumbled on into the Tap Takeover Podcast.
That's right.
Welcome back to the Tap Takeover Podcast, beer news segment. And we've got a real special one, some breaking news that broke a couple weeks ago, but we finally had our chance to sit down with Sean and Evan from Phase Three Brewing to kind of tell us about the state of the business, see what's going on with you guys. So, Again, welcome to the Tap Takeover Podcast.
Thank you.
Definitely. Thanks for having us.
Glad to be here.
So tell us a little bit about this experience. Brand new brewery. Sean, you've had some experience with this and your experience with more. What kind of brought you guys to do it, and what does the process look like?
Yeah, so Evan and I have worked with each other for almost a decade in actually a brewing environment. We worked together back at RAM. We worked together at Moore. And here we are starting our new venture, Phase 3. So that's the 3 in there. This is our kind of third project here. Third brewery. Yeah, I mean it's crazy. It's
crazy.
It's been a hell of a ride so far, and we haven't even actually brewed our own first batches of beer yet. So
tomorrow, though.
Yeah, tomorrow, Thursday and Friday, we're finally doing our first 3 batches. So super excited about that.
Yes,
I've been thinking about it a lot today, and just making sure I have everything I need tomorrow. And I was talking to Jake down at Lake Zurich. We'll be contract brewing and kind of making sure everything's kind of in order. We're talking about the water and all that kind of stuff.
Kind of feels like the first day of college. Like you're out of your parents' house. You're just like hoping that everything's going to go right.
Yeah, a lot riding on, especially these first 2 batches. So to say that I'll be losing sleep over the next 2 or 3 weeks is an understatement. I'll be thinking about the beer a lot, especially until it's done fermenting, and I know that it took the right track that I wanted it to take.
Can we get a little hint at what styles your first 3 beers are going to be?
Yeah, so the first 2, it'll be Protocol, which is a double IPA brewed with Galaxy, Citra, and Eldorado. Kind of a new spin on an old beer that I used to make. The other one is called Marmalade, and that's going to be a very citrusy Citra with a little bit of Columbus. So we're just going for orange kind of zesty, with a little bit of that classic green kind of hop character to it, which I think will be fun. That'll be an IPA too. So both hazy IPAs brewed with oats and wheat and stuff. So nice creamy body.
Yep, that's the first 2. So that's our plan initially to start off, is we'll be dropping beers in 2s basically to start off. So that's first. That should be hitting stores the week of April 17th, around there, plus or minus a couple days. Obviously, we'll see how things go, but that's our target right now. We'll be doing primarily cans, getting them out all across Chicagoland, which is really exciting for us because obviously that's something that Sean and I have not done yet with anything we've done. So very exciting there. And then we'll also be holding back a couple barrels of each one for some kegs and some draft sales, which is also really exciting. Thought of seeing our beer at bars across Chicago is pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's obviously very exciting to be starting your new brewery, but what's the one thing that really is most exciting to you, that you're most looking forward to do, that you couldn't do at Moore and you couldn't do at RAM, or what you don't have to do?
So honestly, the most exciting thing here is that it's ours. That's Definitely. The most exciting thing. I never felt like I was held back creatively really at any of the places at RAM or Moore. So that's not really any sort of issue there. It was more just this is ours now. We're the blood, sweat, and tears that we put into this every day for now the rest of our lives, or as long as Phase 3 is in existence, is going to be for us, for our family, for our friends, just for us finally, for our well-being, for our
I think just kind of sum it up would be to be fully in control of our own success, and then being able to reap all the benefits from that. Just grow our own brand and impact other people the way we see fit, and impact our communities that we end up operating in the way we see fit, and just having that kind of interaction with our communities and the people that we interact with.
Mm-hmm. So Evan, for you, how is it stepping out of the GM role and into more of a salesperson role? Yeah,
definitely. So it's exciting, to be honest with you. I've spent a lot of my life in the service industry, rather on the management leadership side of it, or bartending and serving. So I'm really excited to kind of harness all of the gift of gab that I've been perfecting, and a lot of times it was to recover on a cold cheeseburger or motivate somebody, and now I get to use that to seal the deal and make amazing relationships all around the country with people in this awesome industry. So I'm looking forward to putting that into work a little bit. So
yeah, I'll be making sure he gets dirty in the brewery too. He's not going to be sitting back too much. I'll be needing help, so. He'll have to learn how to brew pretty quick.
He'll learn that on the fly, right?
Yep.
Learn how to clean a mash tun. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So a lot of excitement with starting your own brewery, but there's got to be a little trepidation too. A little bit of fear. It's definitely a leap of faith.
Yep.
But so tell me about that. Tell me about going from the comforts of a job where you have a steady paycheck to now everything's on the line.
Yeah. Confidence, that was something that took me a while to really get, and I know a lot of people out there, they're going to listen to this, maybe even you guys are like, what do you mean confidence? Like you've only been successful by any relative terms of the word, but I don't know, there's always an unknown thing that happens every release that I do, whether it's a release that I've done 100 times or a release, first time I'm releasing a beer. There's always the fear of, are people going to like this one as much as the last one? Are they going to like it more? I don't know. There's just that confidence thing, but finally kind of realized that I can do this, and that kind of got me out of more to go do this on my own.
Yeah. I think that was the push for both of us is over the last 2 phases that we've had, or set of experiences, we've kind of crawl, walked, and now we're ready to run type of scenario. So we got to the point where it just made more sense to go off and run on our own rather than hold the course where we were at. So, but yeah, I think confidence would definitely be the biggest thing. It feels different, that's for sure. I think I go through like different feelings throughout the day. Sometimes it feels amazing. I'm like, yes, this is, wow, like this day is just even sunnier now. And then other times it's definitely like, what am I not doing that I should be doing right now to focus on the future and get ahead of a couple things that we could be working on to set ourselves up best for success, and also set up the consumers that are ready to try our products for success, and make sure that their experience with Phase 3 is going to be, one to be remembered. So
yeah, I think it's to kind of continue off of that too, is like, Evan and I have been working at More together since shortly after More opened. Evan came and joined the team, and then with my wife, I've been working with her on my beer and stuff like that since the day I got into brewing. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that we've kind of been the I'm not just the brewer. I have a lot to do with like the social media aspects. Most of the pictures that go on social media are typically me. Usually not necessarily that I'm handling comments or that sort of thing, not all the time, but more of like just the initial post and how to sell the beer in that sense of like, I made this beer, how do I want it to announce it to the public? How do I, and that comes down to like literally the picture, coming down to can art or label art, working with my wife on that aspect, talking to Evan about logistics on how do we sell it. We know that this one might have a higher demand than the last one that we did. How are we going to handle the tap room, or how are we going to handle the line? How are we going to handle all the procedures, whether we're not going to, are we going to give tickets? Are we going to sell this one on Eventbrite? Are we going to do this one through a lottery? Are we going to do, all those kind of decisions are things that Evan and I do. I think a lot of people probably weren't super aware of that. I think they just think like Sean brews the beer and like that's pretty much as far as it goes. But I think like it's relieving now to like kind of let people in on like this has been Evan, me, and my wife Brittany that have really been like the driving force behind my success. Not to say that there hasn't been other influences around me and stuff, but that's the team has been here for a long time, and now it's finally we're out in the light all together.
So pretty much you guys just had a financial backer and you guys ran the day-to-day show.
That's how it was, yeah. And now we were able to find a way to do it with keeping the risk semi-low. Well, the risk doesn't change with how we go about it, and making sure that at the end of our day, like no matter what, my family's going to be okay, his family's going to be okay. We're all kind of
sort of walk before you crawl type of thing.
Exactly.
Don't have massive loans out for equipment.
Yeah, exactly.
And tap room.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why we're going at this pace and going back to kind of what Sean said about the risk, and I was obviously always risk involved with what we're doing, but I think just with our experience and our skill set at this point, and even our confidence level, that risk is minimized, to a point that we felt comfortable with making that jump. With you gentlemen touched on how, that is a big thing, and it's been cool so far. Like I said, every day is a little bit different, but it's all been fun. Even the days that are a little scary, it's a cool feeling. It's like going on a roller coaster. You know what I mean? It's it feels a little weird, but you also got on the ride and paid to get into Six Flags that day. So you're right.
Pay the ticket, take the ride, right?
Yeah.
And I would definitely say that the experience that you guys have had at Moore really speaks to your skill set in not only getting people out to drink the beer, but backing it up. A hype will only take you so far if it's not being backed up with good beer.
Yeah.
And one thing that I really noticed when you guys came out with this Phase 3, I wondered, has this been going on for a year or two? Because the label that you guys have chosen for the brewery is real slick.
Yeah.
So it looks like a lot of work went into that. You said your wife put that
Yeah,
in?
that's my
Brittany.
wife, and we literally since the first couple batches that I brewed in my garage back in the day, I've always talked about having a brewery, so we've always tossed around ideas and names, and then there was like a point where it was just like I was so busy that it got put on the back burner. Thought that Ram was going to be the place I was going to brew for the rest of my life, and then it was nope, Moore is going to be the place I'm going to brew for the rest of my life, and then it was just like so. But then it came back like, what, like, why don't we do this? So started crunching names again, and finally came across fell on Phase 3. Told my wife, and then one day I was working, and she sent me a text with all these different concepts for the logo, and I show Evan, and we're just like, oh my god, like, this is awesome, like this is great, and like that was like the spark that we needed. I think I'm a very visual person. I like, one of my hobbies is photography, but I appreciate visual aspects of things. So yeah, when I saw it kind of helped inspire me to go, like, we need to do this, and then it really wasn't that much longer. I mean, it was, like I said earlier, like about 9 months after that, it was like here we are. Obviously there was like some dips, and it got put on the back burner again, but we always kind of had our eye, and ever since we saw that logo, we kind of had that feeling like this had to happen.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I mean, the logo was created quite a while, 9 months ago or so.
Just like a child.
Just like a child. And it has been birthed. Finally.
So it wasn't a C-section.
It was a smooth. I went off on a little bit of a tangent there. I didn't mean to, but I think I did touch on
absolutely.
The main point there was that Brittany's awesome, and she's spectacular. And unfortunately, she's working today, so she can't be here.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah.
It must be exciting to be able to bring your wife into this venture and make it more of a family orientation.
It is. There's obviously going to be some. That was a big talk that my wife and I had with each other going into this. Was that it's gonna be a little bit different than her just making labels for me or logos or helping with the website at Moore or doing stuff like that. Where she's going to be more involved in the day-to-day stuff on top of working her full-time job too. And we have two little kids. And I'm up here in Milwaukee, and we were down in Bourbonnais yesterday doing a collab, and I travel, and so she takes a lot of the workload, and so we did have a talk about that and how that was going to affect like our relationship, and we just made sure, like, hey, going into this, we just need to be open with each other and talk to each other, and if we're frustrated, we need to tell each other, and learn when to shut off Phase 3 and be the Burns family.
Turn on the home life.
Yep.
And Sean and I had the same exact conversation, so I felt very special.
So that is actually interesting, because Evan and I, like I said, we've worked with each other for I think like 8 years. So we've always had like a business and friendship kind of dynamic. So that's kind of something I felt comfortable going into working with Evan and partnering with him to open Phase 3. We knew that wasn't probably a big issue. We're used to work dynamic flow, and then leaving work and having a couple beers, and probably still going to talk about work, but we do have a good relationship and have a lot of laughs with each other and stuff.
So Phase 3 came about very rapidly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming there's still some beer and barrels left at Moore.
Yeah.
Will you be getting in line and buying one to make sure they haven't messed with your legacy?
I will probably not be in line for it, but Yeah, that was actually one of the hardest things to do for me personally, was walking away from those barrels. That was one thing that over the 9 months that really helped, or kind of kept me from leaping, just because I put a lot of time, thought, energy into developing those recipes, and some of these recipes have been a work in progress since my early days at RAM, and to kind of finally start feeling like I locked in on something basically I'd say last April is when I started coming across like a good recipe that I was really happy with. We released that base one time in cans at Moore, and it was very well received. The base beer was. So just kind of knowing that I finally hit that, like, I did it, I got it, and then now they're in barrels and they're almost ready to be coming out. If I were still there, I'd be looking at pulling those in the next few months. And yeah, I mean it kind of sucks, but hopefully I see it at a bottle share that I'm attending, or one of my friends, and I get to try it. But honestly, I would like to just try them, no adjunct, no anything. I just want to see how the beer tasted in the barrel, and that's one thing I'll miss out on trying. So
well, on the flip side, I mean, how are you going to feel, because you guys will be attending festivals together too.
Yeah.
Like Smells Like a Beer Fest.
Yeah,
We'll be covering that too. I mean, how do you feel about them pouring something you created?
I don't know. I mean, not to
theirs.
try to sound like
mean,
it is theirs, but at the same time, like, if I see people lining up for it, it's like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like, if it's a beer that I made, like, that's cool. If it's a a henna that came out of a barrel, it was something that I touched, so it's like, I don't know, it'd be kind of cool.
Still validation.
I'm not like, I won't be salty about it. Like, I'll be all right, cool. Like,
what about the recipes? Are the recipes their property now?
yeah, but I mean
you can
recipes are so.
Yeah.
So I mean, honestly, I don't know if I ever have brewed the same stout batch recipe more than once. I always will tweak something about it, whether it's a little less of this and a little bit more of that, or I change the water profile, or I change the yeast, or I change something about it. So I don't look at it like I left my recipes anywhere. I mean, RAM has my recipes. Moore now has my recipes. That's not really a thing for me. I'm not worried about that. The music kind of just.
So we should mention that you guys are up here doing the collaboration with Eagle Park, and looks like they're getting ready to start business.
Yeah.
And that's the music you're going to hear.
Yeah.
But so tell us a little bit about that collaboration. Coming up to Milwaukee and working with some of the breweries up here, is that something that you see happening again in the future?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Definitely.
I mean, Eagle Park is a very like-minded brewery for us. They're
Is that a pun?
no pun intended.
That's what that was.
Nice throwback.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm impressed. He's normally not that witty. Yeah.
No, I mean they into the same things that I'm currently into. So I think it only makes sense to kind of like come up here and be like, hey, I see you're doing some similar stuff I'm doing. That's pretty cool, or vice versa. And like, how are you doing it? And I don't know, and you just get to talking. So it's a fun kind of thing, and I try to pick, doing collabs with people who are also doing similar things, just so I can kind of see how they're doing it, and it makes for a good time instead of like we have nothing in common and we're just sitting there like, all right, like you brew beer, I brew beer, but we're making some weird beer that I have no interest in. Or something.
I think what Sean's trying to say is that we're all just some good old Midwestern boys slanging liquids in old dairy tanks. Right?
So Evan, any plans for a future brick and mortar kind of facility?
Yeah,
do you have
definitely.
any idea where you guys might land?
we're
There's always room in Wisconsin.
Yeah, right. Yeah, just that dang drive. Yeah. So that's definitely the plan. We really want to get these first couple rounds of beer out, and then kind of take a look at how it's been received, and take a look at the landscape, and then move forward from there. We definitely want our own place. We see the suburbs as a more viable option than going into the city. It just makes sense with our personal lives too. We're really big on the family and our own families, like Sean touched on. So it's something that's still very early on. I would hate to even throw out towns that we've thought about because it's just so early. But yeah, it's something that we're looking at, definitely.
Well, Evan doesn't live too far.
Anything, because I live in a very centrally located community that is pleasant.
He doesn't live too far from where Moore was, and I live in St. Charles, so I don't want to have to drive more than 30 minutes to work. I've been doing that for the last 6 years now, or 5 years. I'm kind of over that, so I'd like to be somewhere at least within 30 minutes of St. Charles. and I'm sure he kind of feels the same.
Yeah,
He wants to be 30
definitely.
minutes, so
take St.
Wherever-
Charles, draw 30-minute
Train,
ring
yeah.
around it, and you can start honing in.
yeah, you can start honing in on some spots, which
I can see the real estate market around there
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
booming right now.
You can have real estate agents blowing up your emails.
yeah, right. Seriously. No, it'll be somewhere, in the western Chicago suburbs. I grew up in the northwest burbs. That's just I like the burbs. Nothing against the city at all. That's where I grew up, and it's kind of my comfort zone for me.
Yeah,
so
fun
it's,
fact, we both attended the same high school districts.
Whoa.
yeah. Good old 211.
Yeah.
Yep. No, so it'll be somewhere western suburbs, but we'll know as we get closer.
So any loose kind of timeline, business plan wise? I mean,
12 to 18 months.
Okay.
I'd say 12 would be extremely short.
Yeah.
On that, I'd probably say 18 to 24 because shit happens, and that's just the way it always works
Lots of
out.
shit
Sure.
happens.
Yeah.
At 18 months would be if it happens in 18, awesome. Sooner would be better, but
Once you guys have a facility going and some beer being brewed,
Yeah.
we will definitely love to come down and
Yeah.
check you guys out
Definitely.
and get the full story behind the opening.
yeah,
But it sounds like with beer coming out this weekend, I think we could say happy birthday.
yeah,
The 9 months is over.
yeah. Tomorrow's gonna be an exciting day to say the least.
Yeah,
and then the
definitely.
day that we have our cans, the first cans with our beer on the label is gonna be a very emotional day, I think, for Brittany, myself, and
Yeah.
Evan.
Happy birthday to Phase 3.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, I think that's going to do it for us for now.
Cool.
Congratulations with the new venture. Congratulations with the new collaboration. We can't wait to see you guys at the 420 Joint Beer Fest here at Eagle Park.
Yeah.
We'll see you next weekend too at Microphone.
Oh,
There you go. Yeah, the weekend
the
after
following
that.
weekend.
Yeah.
Yep.
You guys are going to get tired of seeing us.
Well, we have a collab with Mike next week, so I'm assuming the beer will probably be ready around then. So maybe if the tap room's open that day, you can sneak in and have a taste of the beer that we're doing up there. So
That would be
Nice.
fun. Awesome.
Awesome.
So that'll do it for us for now. But this is Alex.
Andy here.
Evan here.
Sean here.
And I'm Jim.
All right, that'll do it for us, and this has been another solid non-fail production.